Hey, welcome back to Blown Budget Garage. If you're new to the channel, my name is Randy, and behind me is the 1973 Dodge Dart Swinger that I've been building. If you are new to the channel, there's a couple years worth of content on this build, and if you're like me, you're probably not gonna wanna go through all the old stuff. You wanna get caught up to the action. What are you doing? What do you got in the car? What are the plans? So, engine's right here, trans is in the car. If you're Ruben from Muscle City Madness, don't watch this. Y'all stick around. I'm gonna go over everything that we currently have set up for Nonamenationals. Here we have the 318. If you look at it, you'll see that there's not a lot on it. There's no AC compressor. Basically, the only thing I'm running is an alternator and my power steering pump. Paired with that is a brand new power steering gearbox because I really like power steering. When it comes to brakes, this was obviously a brake booster car. This is gonna get converted over to manual brakes. You'll see some long tube headers in there. And then tied to them is just some little couple of single chamber cheap mufflers. Now on the car, when I got the car, believe it or not, this engine came in the car. Car was sitting, rotting under a tree, picked everything up for 1,100 bucks. Now, top to bottom, I will say that I stripped this engine down to the short block, rehoned it, inspected, cleaned, put everything back together. But from the top down, it's got a TM5 single plane aluminum intake. It was kind of Edelbrock's older technology, but they work really well and you can get them for super cheap. Just some cheap chrome valve covers, which I really typically stay away from chrome, but I thought I would give them a try and they're already turning to crap. So definitely don't buy those. But anyways, new rocker arm shafts, new rocker arms, new push rods, lifters, the works. My cam is a redacted. I'm not going to tell you that. Come on now, Ruben, I know you're watching. Cam, crank, engine, block's been bored 20 over. And really that's about it, you know. I put new engine mounts on it, obviously new plugs, new water pump, timing cover, gaskets, alternator, starter. I mean, all the bolt-ons are all brand new. So over here, front of the car, new shocks, small front tires. Back tires are only about 8 inches wide right now. I'm gonna upgrade those. I'm gonna put some 10-inch tires back there. Probably do like a 15x7 and do some 255/60 tires. Total inflation should give me right at 10 inches of tire. So again, front to back of the car, all new brakes, upper control arms, again, shocks, bushings, blah, 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 all the boring stuff, you name it, it got it. Been doing body work on the car, that sucks. Up underneath the car, this is actually the second trans that I'm on, and it's coming right back out. Back here is just a 7 1/4 276 rear end. We already know it's gonna break pretty much immediately. But that's okay. In the off chance that it doesn't, it'll actually do me a lot of good. It's just like what John Wilburn said. That rear end is the easiest rear end for this engine to turn over. It's just, hands down it is. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about my setup and why I'm very confident in what I'm gonna be doing and how easy it's gonna be for me to beat Ruben. But if I do blow up the spider gears in that rear end, which I will, I have another one I'm picking up here in like 3.5 weeks. So the other night, yeah, the shop is still flooded, by the way. It has not stopped raining for like 4 days. And no matter how hard I try, it just finds a little and then it seeps in. But anyways, the other night I was out here cleaning, trying to get the water out of the shop, sat down on the bench, recurved my distributor, took the heavy spring out. What I'm trying to do is get all my timing between 22 and 2400 RPM because with my new transmission and shift kit, I also got a high stall converter. I'm trying to pair my total timing with the top end of my converter. I want to launch at a decent hit, but I don't want to be too heavy because I know the small rear end is going to blow, but I don't want to damage the 8 1/4 because unlike a lot of other people who are going to this event, I'm driving this car there. I'm going to drive the car all the way to Sykeston. I'm going to beat Ruben, have a blast. I'm going to drive it back. So I'm doing this, and it's definitely going to help. Also, I run 2 spacers on my small blocks. I have a 1-inch open bore and a phenolic 4-hole. I use the open because I like to increase my plenum volume, and I like the 4-hole because it really helps with atomization of your fuel. We're not going to get into why I run a combination of the both, and there's a million YouTube videos on which one you should run and blah, 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 blah. This isn't Engine Masters, okay? That's what I like, and that's what I'm going to use. Over here, these are just all my other goodies. Fuel pressure regulator, fuel pressure gauge, 8 mil wires, new coil. There's all my stuff I got to put back on. I mean, nothing crazy, right? So that's where I'm at with this build. This is just a small block 318, a little bit of a bore, some bolt-on goodies, but the biggest thing is that I know Ruben has a 400 big block. Ruben also has 500 pounds stock weight on me. So to combat that, I'm going to be changing a couple of things with a lighter substance. Is it the bumpers? I don't know. Is it the seats? I don't know. Let's look at the seats. If you're new, you haven't seen the car. Inside is just a no frills interior. I haven't had a chance to sand down my, my rockers or my door jambs or anything like that. I still got to sand that down, so whatever. But I made some homemade door cards. They're super light. This is the stock split bench seat. I still have the stock rear seat in. Put some floor pans in there. The gauges I made myself out of some super thin metal. Super lightweight gauges, nothing crazy. I just got a GPS speedometer, my tach, fuel gauge, and I really like to see, you'll see later on when the car is running again, but I like to run 2 of these. You'll see this one here, and my charge port also has another one, and they're tied into 2 different systems. So I have my initial voltage, and then I have my voltage drop. This is on the tail end after everything has been pulled. And in case I run into issues, it's nice to know. Over here, I just got my water temp and my oil pressure. I got a couple switches. This one right here, when I turn it on, this one turns on my speedometer. And it also turns on both of the electric fans for my frostbite aluminum radiator. If you're like me, I'm a little bit forgetful. Sometimes I'll just get in the car, start it up, and take off. And if I look down and my speedometer isn't on, I know my fans aren't on. The other switch, I wired it in so that I can control all the lights on my gauges. You can use the light switch. For me anyways, it's just easier. I'm making it all myself. Wire it to a switch. When I want all my backlights to come on, boom. Speaking of switches, there's gonna be a couple of more that I have to add. Simply because you got to be able to arm some laughing gas. So one of the things I'm going to do to make sure that I beat Ruben is we're going to just tickle her. We're going to just a little bit of laughing gas into the old 318. And between all of the weight reduction that I have done, that I'm still going to do, and even what I'm going to be doing beyond that, between the fact that race weight with me in it, I'm going to be about 700 to 750 pounds lighter than Ruben. If you do the math and, in a perfect world, we're going to be close power to weight ratio, with the exception of he'll probably make a little bit more torque on that configuration, and he's going to have a better gear. But I don't think Ruben can tune an engine to nitrous. I don't know, buddy. Can you? Can you post a pass on a bottle? I don't think you can, and I think that's what's going to help me beat you. So, again, if you're new, this is the whole build. 2 years in the making. Strip the car down to the shell. Again, brand new everything. Body work in it, Everybody asks, you making a show car or you making a race car? I'm making both. I want to look good when I beat you. But that's the whole car. You're caught up. So please stick around, have some fun. On this channel, we don't take anything seriously except trash talking Ruben and beating him.